What's the difference between you right now and the version of you that plays in the NHL? Every player has their potential, what you could be, and every player has their constraints, the specific things keeping you from that. You will only get as good and go as far as your biggest constraint allows. You remove the constraint and you instantly unlock more of your potential. Constraints are just limitations that are holding you back from the results that you want to see. Think of it this way: you're here, the result you want is there. The gap in between is made up of constraints, the reasons why you're not there, right? And constraints can show up in all different kinds of ways: things you don't know yet, things you aren't good enough yet, things you haven't put enough time into yet, things you haven't thought about yet, right? And until you remove those, you stay where you are, or you can't make big breakthroughs in your game. And constraints also doesn't mean like weaknesses. In fact, it can be the opposite a lot of the times. It's just the biggest ticket to the results that you're looking for. It can be mental, physical, skill based, habit, IQ, and more. The world operates on cause and effect. Every effect has a cause. So every result is caused by something. The reason you're not where you want to be has a cause. It's not by accident. But this is good news because it means you have the potential and the ability to remove it. It's an opportunity to get closer to the results that you want, that you're looking for. And so solving constraints is the most effective way you can possibly improve. Nothing is more powerful. Nothing stacks improvement faster than this. And your constraints, the thing holding you back, is so powerful that if you don't see them or you misdiagnose them, it can cost you months, years, and even your career. But if you choose the right constraint and solve it, you can create the fastest jumps in your game and put yourself in positions you're dreaming of, as long as you have the desire and drive to achieve great things. And so improvement by solving your constraints is just essentially closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It's not by doing everything, but it's by solving the right problem in the right order. And removing your constraints that are holding you back is essentially a 6-step process. 1, set a clear goal. Know the result that you want. 2, we need to identify the gap between you and that goal. Number 3, discover the number 1 limitation preventing you from that goal right now. Number 4, find the root issue to the limitation, the source. Number 5, change the behavior to remove the limitation. And number 6, track and repeat. That's how improvement compounds. That's how one fix leads to the next and you grow exponentially fast, right? And this is why knowing exactly what you want is so important, which is why we do the identity, the priorities, the setting your goals, because if you don't know where you want to go, it's going to be difficult to build a path there. And so all of this may sound simple because it is, but most players get it wrong. They try to climb to the top by adding more effort, more workouts, more reps. The reason they never take big leaps in their games is because they ask the wrong questions, right? Most athletes ask, how do I? How do I get faster? How do I get more confident? How do I score more? All these how to's. But the question points you in the wrong direction. The better question is, what is preventing me right now? Why am I not already there? What would have to be true about my game so that the result I want becomes inevitable, right? That's where truth lives. That's where you'll find those answers and your solution. And so your greatness sits directly in the middle of your problems and limitations, the opposite of what everybody else would have told you, or the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And nobody really talks about it, but the questions you ask yourself are so important because they'll determine the answers that you find. The things that are going to be able to take your game to new levels are going to be dependent on the questions you ask yourself. And there are better and worse questions, more accurate ones and less accurate ones. And this is why it's much more effective to ask, what is preventing me from that result? Why am I not already there? Rather than, how do I get there? What's the 5-step plan? What's the how to? What's the hack? What's the tip? What's the advice? Right? The fundamental difference in questions is going to give you the difference in answers that you get. And the difference in answers that you get is going to be tied to the different actions that you take to get that result. Better questions, better answers, more effective actions. Subtracting your limitations is more powerful than adding hard work. It's the truth. And if you want to achieve great things, you need to be different than everybody else. And most people run from their constraints. They hide from their limitations. They don't want to confront them. They're scared to find the truths. And for that reason, they'll never be excellent. You must seek them, search for them, want to find your constraints. To you, they're opportunities with massive potential to create breakthrough changes in your game. And constraints thrive in the shadows, in the dark. That's where they grow when you ignore them, right? And so we have to bring light into them. And the block for 99% of players is because they don't reflect, think, or spend time truly trying to discover what is preventing them. They don't spend any time, right? And because they never ask the right question, they never get the golden opportunity to solve the biggest problems in their development to get them the result that they've always been looking for. Progress is not about stacking endless methods. It's about removing the blockages. This needs to land. It needs to sink in your brain because the truth is found not in the question, how do I, but in the question, why am I not? Right? If I was already at this level, what would I be doing differently? What's stopping me from that now? We need to rewire the way we think about the game, the way we think about our development, the way we think about improving, because it's going to change what we do. It's going to change the results we get. I promise you. Okay, let's dive into an example. Let's say you want to score 50 goals this season, but in the past, you've never scored more than 20 goals. So we don't ask, how do I become a 50 goal scorer player? What we do ask is what's stopping you from being a 50 goal player right now? It could be the fact that your shot is lethal, but you only get 2 shots a game and you don't shoot enough. Okay, why not? Maybe because you don't get the puck enough. Why not? Maybe you're not in the right spots or you don't demand the puck. Why don't you do that? Maybe you're not confident or you don't anticipate plays effectively. Why not? Maybe you haven't identified or trained those parts of your game. Do you see how it stacks? It's like questions of whys. The constraint is like a chain, and we follow it backwards until we find the root constraint, the part that's actually blocking the next level, right? And if you were to be the player who gets 50 goals, for instance, what would have to be true about your game? And that's what we would build backwards, right? If the goal is scoring more, maybe it's things like I need to get 5+ quality shots every game. And because most players don't ask these kinds of questions to themselves, they don't understand what's holding them back. On paper, solving constraints sounds simple. It's like find what's blocking you, fix it, and then you'll improve. But there's a catch, right? Most players don't actually even see their real constraints. And even worse, they misidentify them. They grind, they work hard, but they never stop to figure out why they're not where they want to be. What's preventing them from getting there? I cannot stick it in your brain more. That's why so many players spin their wheels. Tons of effort, but in all different directions. The players who make real breakthroughs, I've done it, other people have done it, they have a clear understanding of what's going to make the biggest difference right now in their game. Here are just a few examples of misunderstanding your real limitation that I've seen. People say they need a harder shot. The real constraint was that they're not getting enough scoring positions, right? Another guy says, I need to train more. The real constraint is they're just not focused on the right things to actually improve their game. Another one might say, I need to get faster. But the real constraint is that you actually panic under pressure. And so it's your puck confidence, not your speed. Another player might say, I just need more exposure, right? The real constraint was that when the puck's on your stick, you're not making enough of an impact. And so a lot of players don't understand the things holding them back. And the only reason you don't know what's holding you back is because you've never thought about it deeply enough. You've never asked the right questions. And don't feel bad about it. It's nobody's fault. But what matters is what you can do today, tomorrow, and all that is moving forward, right? And you need to ask yourself, how much do you really care about your dream? Do you care enough to sit down, reflect, and face the truth about your game? What are you willing to do to get what you say you want? I have to ask myself this all the time, and you need to ask yourself too. And this stuff is so important. We're going to fill out a form every month to find out what's going to lead to the biggest improvements for you, to find your constraints. But again, a common theme that's going to come up is that it's up to you, nobody else. Nobody's coming to save you and make the career for you. I will point the way, but you have to walk. I hope now you can see and understand how important and effective this is for your development. In the next video, we're going to get into a full case study, an example of a player of going through their position, everything about them, and finding their constraint. So tune in for that.